Hello, this is wmpyr here to talk about UFC 207, the current women's champion Amanda Nunes versus the highly anticipated return of Rhonda Rousey. Alright, so anyway, let me talk about the fight. I'm not here to do a breakdown. I'm here to want to learn from it because that's what I do. I'm not here to like cheer for one fighter over the other like it's my favorite basketball team or favorite baseball player. That's not the way that I view MMA, even though it is a sport. I'm here to learn from it for my other martial arts background because I implement all of it together. So I mix it all up. It's all hybrid for me. But anyway, so Rhonda Rousey goes in there. She wants to prove and regain something that she feels that she's lost, even though to me, her accomplishments, her legacy will not be tarnished just from these two losses. It doesn't matter. I don't care if she loses the next 10 fights. What she's did already was amazing, and that don't change. That's already printed in stone. So I wish she didn't feel bad. But anyway, so she's in there trying to regain stuff, and she's fighting, and then bam, she gets hit. You don't even see it. It's so fast, like bam, you just get hit, and you're in the middle of the fighting. If you're Ronda Rousey right now, you're fighting, and bam, you just got hit, and then the next, you're still trying to do what you do, implement your plan, and then bam, bam, you're getting hit like really bad now. So the first one you don't even notice, right? And then the next one is like bam, bam, and then your instincts come out, which is her judo background. So she's trying to do the judo stuff, and you can see that the champion, Amanda Nunes, is well prepared for it, so shrugs it off. This is not the same as Ronda Rousey dominating, landing punches or throwing some big punches and making the other person defensive and then going for a judo move or grabbing them and setting them up for grappling. This is not the same as that. This is instinctively, you're desperate and you're almost like in panic mode, and the brain probably doesn't even realize half of what's going on. It's just like, oh man, and then you're trying to grab, and you're kind of in a judo headlock and arm almost type position, but it's because it's coming out of instinct, and it's not like from a dominant. It's more like a desperate, confused reaction that she's doing. Of course it's going to get countered. So Nunes is able to shrug it off, and then bam, bam, bam. I mean, the fight is so fast. I don't think Ronda Rousey was ever able to really regain her composure from there. Does it mean that her stand-up sucks? No. I mean, you could be a really good stand-up fighter, but you get nailed like that a couple of times, and it's like things can go out the window. I don't think people understand that. I was confident in my stand-up striking. Of course, I'm nowhere near their level, but back in the day, for my level, I was confident and sparred some stand-up guys, and maybe I was dominating. But then I took one hit, bam, and then that's it. That's all it takes. Everything's out the window, So unless you've been there, it's very easy to criticize and say, oh, she's a judo player, her stand-up sucks. She never had the discipline to train in boxing and kickboxing. I think that's very easy to criticize, but I think it's very unfair to say something like that. It is not everyone is going to be an awesome grappler and stand-up fighter simultaneously. That's very difficult to do. And so, in any case, what did I learn from this? That something I already knew, that the fighter's world is a very difficult world, and it is a harsh world, and there's a lot of critics and a lot of the public fans that watch, and they say stuff that they really don't understand. They don't know what it's like, and they'll criticize you, say a lot of negative stuff about you. I was looking at the comments on YouTube, and I just felt really bad, and most of these people shouldn't even be talking. it's I don't think they know that they are making themselves look ignorant and bad by saying bad stuff to Rhonda. But anyway, technically, what did I learn? Well, one thing is that this can happen to anybody. You could be a really good, comfortable stand-up striker, but if the other person gets off before you, like they get the first shot off on you, right? And this can happen. And if that happens, and it slips through, and boom, you don't even see it, right? I remember a friend of mine who was he went through special forces training. He didn't make it because the psychological evaluation said you're not cut out. But he did the tryout thing, and he made it all the way to the end. He wasn't weeded out. But anyway, he's an Army guy, and he got into a street fight. And so it was out of road rage, right? So the guy came out of the car, two guys, but one guy came out of the car ready to box my friend. My friend's a huge guy, so this guy must have been a pretty big guy too. So this guy comes out to box my friend, and my friend is, he was the guy that taught me the Kali Eskrima, his version from his teacher, which was a military style of the teacher's own style of Kali Eskrima. And so anyway, that's what he was comfortable with. But he was training grappling with me at the time because I was working with a grappling group, and of course I was already had background in the Filipino martial arts, so we were able to bond in that sense. But I was also helping him out with the grappling because that was not part of his game. So anyway, he went to fight this guy. And the guy, bam, bam, threw jabs, and he said it landed. And the first time it landed, he was like, crap, And they kept circling and trying to box each other. And then boom, boom, he got hit again. And then he was like, dude, in his brain, he was like, this doesn't happen to me. But then he was like, it is happening to me. I need to switch gears. So he switched gears, and he went in. He deliberately went in for the takedown. No, sorry, not the takedown. They went into the clinch. And then from the clinch, he really likes the clinch from the Kali type of clinch, that clinch work that he employed. And he showed me. It's unique for clinch work. It's not Muay Thai, but he does do knees and elbows and stuff like that. So anyway, he eventually ended up on the ground, and this was, I remember he was really proud, and he told me that he was like, dude, I used what you showed me, and I choked him out, and but anyway, back to the subject. So he shifted gears, all right, but he had time to shift gears. Rhonda Rousey, from what I saw, there was no time. It was so fast, okay. So it was just out of instinct. That's not the same as what my buddy did. My buddy said, okay, I'm going to shift gears. He had time to change strategies, which is very important. A lot of people don't have that flexibility, and to be able to do that during combat, not just to switch strategies during combat, but also when you're getting beaten, to be able to do that. So that is impressive alone. But in Rhonda Rousey's case, it was even worse than that, okay? So in that kind of case, what she needed was not to switch strategies, not to switch and go, okay, now I need to go to the clinch, forget the boxing, just grab a hold of the person. What she needed to do was to survive. That needed to come first. And in order to survive, her instincts came out, which in this case, against this opponent, this was a bad move because the opponent was well versed in countering this. So what Rhonda needed to do, in my opinion, and please keep it light, take this as my very, very light 2 cents, because I'm not a professional fighter. I'm nowhere near her level. So my opinion should not be taken as important as what another professional fighter says, okay? So I'm just saying this is what I personally gained and learned out of it. So for me, in her shoes, if something like that happens, where it's like bam, bam, and I don't have time to switch strategies, not just, oh, I'm gonna go for this, that's not gonna work. So what I need to do is survive. So I need to ball up or roll onto the ground, or whatever, turn my back and run, whatever it takes, flip or whatever, just survive. You need to get out of there and just run and survive around, that's important. If it was more like on the street or in a home or something, and grab something, use it as a shield, because surviving needs to come first at that point. I think to Rhonda, those punches were happening so fast that she's, it's like bam, what, bam, bam, what's going on, and then before you know it, you're losing, and the fact that her judo just came out, that's awesome. That's how awesome her judo is. It's muscle memory. That's what came out, that's her instinct. So obviously her judo's legit, very legit, but it would have been nice, I think, if the shields, if this came out like in boxing, and just try to, duck down and survive that. I think that would have been good. I see Remy Bonjasky, I forgot who he fought. I think he fought the bad boy, what was his name, Golden Boy, and that guy was just dominating him with strikes in the beginning, because he's an aggressive, the other guy was known as the bad boy at the time in K1 kickboxing, and he was dominating. So Remy, when he had to block, he blocked. He swallowed his pride and he just blocked, survived, and then he would, do what he did best, which was, he had some amazing flying kicks and stuff like that, flying knees, and take the fight back to his tempo. But there were times where that couldn't happen, and he just defended and survived, So I think that is what was probably lacking in Rhonda Rousey's game. It was like, dude, this is your chance to prove everyone wrong. So just go in there and show them that you're an animal, show them that you're a beast. I don't think she even thought of, well, what if it gets turned around? What if I'm the one that's getting beat? And from the very start, not from the very start, maybe if it went longer, okay, she could probably handle that, and maybe she could have gone to defense. But from the very beginning, that's pretty hard to imagine. No one goes in there to lose, so everyone goes in there to dominate and to implement their game. So yeah, that was a very tough night for her. I feel for her in that sense, but yeah, I feel like I definitely learned from it. So thank you to both fighters, and I hope that you watching this video were able to learn from this as well. So anyway, thank you for watching, and take care, folks.